Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Wilderness Attitude Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Waddell. Appreciate you downloading and subscribing to give us a listen. Really appreciate that. Hope everybody's having a great day. Kick back and enjoy the show. Well, thanks for joining me, everybody. This is Brandon with Wilderness Attitude. I'm your host. Thanks very much for listening. I've had an interesting week. Bear season was over, so archery is officially over for me. And just some rifle hunts with the kids, and maybe a late season cow tag for me if I can make it out and make a go of it. But not a bad year. Got my muley down. Got a little meat in the freeze, but otherwise I had a great elk hunts as well. A lot of good encounters, lots of intimate time, but nothing got dropped. So, let's see. I'm in Steamboat Springs. That's where we're doing the podcast. I'm up at the Colorado Mountain College. My hotel did not have Wi-Fi. That went down. They weren't sure when it was going to get it up. So thank you very much to Colorado Mountain College for hosting me up here today, putting me in their sound booth and making this possible. Really appreciate that. Without further ado, my guest today is Sereena Thompson. Many of you may know who she is through her personal page on Instagram, but you might also know her as the co-founder of Nature's Paint. Sereena, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you taking the time to be on the show today. I got the opportunity to meet you. I don't know if you'll recall, in Salt Lake City.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you know, I couldn't hardly get in a word edgewise between Matt and Jason, who just seemed to like take over your booth, and they were having a lot of fun over there rolling around. Now, I don't know if you'll recall, but there was some sort of a bet or something that Matt lost, and so he had to wear Nature's Paint at the convention all day. Is there some background to that?
I'm trying to think. Gosh, it's almost been a year ago. I can't remember what the bet was, but yeah, no, there was definitely something.
Yeah, I remember he lost the bet, but he was walking around the convention with a bunch of face paint on, and everybody was giving him a hard time. But that's the place to go have a good time and have fun and represent some products you believe in, right?
Right. I love the Hunt Expo in Salt Lake.
It was a good one. It was my first time going up to that, and I really enjoyed it. There was some good people there. Met some new people, and caught up with some old, and got to see some new products such as your own. And I think that, you know, my wife sells Rodan and Fields, and so I know that there is a market for what you got going on with this all natural face paint, because I can attest to the fact of itching clay paint and smearing grease paint all over me, and I don't know where the heck I find all these stuff on my camo everywhere, and it can be kind of crazy. But
yeah,
so I know that as a woman and having sensitive skin might have been where you thought of this idea or thought of the idea, but what else went into play in figuring this out, and where were you? What sparked? Were you sitting in the woods and in the same place as me with crap all over you, or what?
Yeah, believe it or not, it actually came about on a hunting trip. You know, my business partner and I, Nicole, we were hunting together a couple years ago, and like you said, we were sitting there complaining, our face was itching, and, you know, we were having, you know, the reactions. And when you hunt, you know, multiple days in a row, the other paint that we were using wouldn't come off. You know, it was basically permanently embedded into our pores. And so after that season, we went back home, and we had decided that we were going to find some kind of alternative for ourselves. And it actually turned out way better than what we had originally planned, and Nature's Paint was born, and it's kind of just been a whirlwind since then.
Excellent. Well, that's pretty cool, and like you say, it's I mean, men will wear it too. There's no doubt about it,
Oh, yeah.
but then the women's sector of this outdoor world is an extremely growing market. So, it seems like a great idea.
Yeah.
It just work out really well for you. Good timing as well.
Right. Yeah.
Now, are you just selling it online, or do you have it in any particular stores throughout the U.S.? Has anybody picked it up?
So we don't have it in any big box stores yet. We do have it in quite a few local archery shops around. Then obviously our website, Girls with Guns, carries it on their website. We have it. Bowtech carries it. Just kind of the smaller shops right now, and we'll eventually get to the bigger ones.
Well, that's all right. I mean, that's a good gig, right? I mean, you got to start it out somewhere, and sometimes going into the big box stores can not really serve all that well on the bottom line either, right? I mean, it just kind of, you kind of lose where you're at there. I mean, it gets you out, gets you in the public eye, but at the same time, it might not be the best move for your product.
Exactly.
So you grew up in Southern Oregon, and it's in some of the stuff I've read in some of your notes that you grew up with mom and dad driving around in a yellow Chevy pickup truck hunting deer.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It wouldn't be like a mustard yellow Chevy truck, would it?
No, it was actually gold.
Gold.
Shiny gold.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm only asking because I have one of those mustard yellow Chevy trucks, and it's a plow truck at the house. And I read that, I thought, oh, there is not very many of those around. But I know they did make that goldish color, which was much better than the mustard deal that I had for sure. So, who was the outdoor leader in your family growing up? Was it your dad, or was it maybe your mom, or was it equal?
I'd say it's pretty equal. They both grew up hunting, and, then, we just continued, as they got married and had kids. And I mean, I grew up hunting. It's always been, a part of our life.
So do you recall your first memory? Was it riding around the truck? Or
Mm-hmm.
that was your first memory of hunting as a young kid?
Yeah, because
right?
we my sister and I, we'd go with my parents, and we'd all, cram into the single cab truck, and mom on one side, dad on the other, Yeah, I mean, it's what it was. I mean,
right.
I didn't know any different. Yeah.
So what was the first, what was the first thing your parents gave you to hunt with?
243.
243.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a BB gun. It wasn't anything less,
Well, I mean, every kid had a BB gun, right? I mean, we had those, but as far as hunting, it was a 243.
243. Gotcha. I think that's the best all around way to start. That's where my kids have started. And I mean, you can shoot an elk with a 243 if you're a good shot, and you can, it's a good ranch gun all the way around, so that's probably a good place to start. Is that still your favorite?
Yeah, I still shoot a 243 today. I mean, I have other guns. I have, 30-06 that if I rifle hunt for elk, I'll use. But I'm a big archery hunter, so usually I just, have my bow for elk. But yeah, 243. It's my favorite gun.
It's your favorite. Do you still have the same one you grew up with?
I do.
Yeah. Is that the one, or do you have a newer one that you use? You kind of put that one away.
I have a new one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a new one.
Oh, it's always fun looking in the gun safe, right? And you got the guns that you grew up with, and it's like you love getting them out and shooting them a little bit, but they just have this value that you don't want to shoot them anymore, kind of, right? They get nostalgic sitting in the corner.
Yep.
And you save it. My kids will hunt with this too, and and that's a good way to go.
Yep.
So have you introduced your children into the hunting realm at this point, or are they still too loud to take you?
Oh no,
Huh?
they're gonna be hunters. They're gonna grow up just like I grew up. They've been in hunting camp since pretty much the day that they were born. My son, he's 5. He's a little more into it than my daughter,
Hmm.
but yeah, they love it. It's part of our everyday lifestyle.
Right. Well, and it's cool. I take my kids out a little bit with me from time to time when they were younger, but I quickly figured out that they drug their feet a lot and they never stop moving and they want to ask a ton of questions. And so I kind of had to realize that when I really want to go hunt, then I don't take them. But there's times where we just go out, and I don't know if you call it pretend hunt or mock hunt, so that they go out and they get to go out and they get to hunt a little bit and they get to have some fun. But we're not. We know when we left that the chances of us notching a tag is slim to none.
Yeah.
Right?
We kind of have the same. We do a lot of backcountry hunting too with our bows, and so
Uh-huh.
obviously, 4 and 5, they're too small to make those treks into the woods. But we're getting ready to go. We go every year to Northern California and do a rifle blacktail tag.
Uh-huh.
So they'll ride around with us and do some little hunts and things
That's
like
cool.
that. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm mostly an archery hunter. My kids do some rifle hunts, so I support them in their choices on that. But for me, archery's where it's at, and that's that's almost impossible. And then it's to take little kids with you archery hunting. But like you say, some of the backcountry hunts, my son Aiden, who was 13, was supposed to go with me on this 4-day trip that I had planned, and it didn't. He ended up not going, and then I was kind of glad in the end because I can tell you that the amount of backcountry deadfall that I climbed over was quite extensive,
Right.
and when you're half my height, I can only imagine. It's one thing climbing over stuff when they're thigh high, but when they're over your waist and huge, I couldn't imagine Aiden trying to muster over all them logs. I wish I want to walk around the woods with one of those clickers, because I want to know how many deadfall I went
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
in 4 days, just so I have some reference number. I don't know if I probably don't want to know, but
It's be off the charts.
yeah. And but then you almost want to categorize it too. It's like, was it something that you could just step over, or was it something that your knees had to touch, or was it something your butt had to touch? Was it something that your hands had to touch? Right? I mean, did you have to do the whole hurdle jump or what?
Uh,
And but I was glad that he wasn't with me on that one because we got on a pretty good size elk, and I mean I was at full draw. I was seconds from punching the tag on this elk, and he got spooked. But we were 2 miles from camp, and it was brutal deadfall. I mean, we had done some deadfall throughout the a couple days prior, but where we went to get in this bowl, it was just amazing. I mean, the storm wind energy on that ridge must be pretty intense because there was not much standing, but there was plenty on the ground. I mean, when you're climbing over stuff that's 3 or 4 layers high, and
right.
each one of them is 20-inch plus logs, I mean, it was pretty incredible. But
Right.
so where you're at in Oregon, I always kind of think of the whole thicker woods, right? More jungly woods. But is that true in Oregon, or do you guys kind of have more of the ponderosa open
It
space?
kind of depends on what part of the state you're hunting. The coast, if you're more over on the other side of the Cascades than what I am, it's that jungly, thick, coastal, steep ground. We kind of hunt all around the state, but it's more, in the pines, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. So it's more like the Rocky Mountain style
Right.
terrain and vegetation.
Right.
I've always because there was a lot of those guys. What's the elk you guys have up there? The
We have the Rocky Mountain.
Rocky Mountain elk, but closer to the coast you have
Roosevelt?
Roosevelt. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, and those guys love to live in that thick, jungly stuff, don't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's got to be tough to hunt in that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost I can kind of relate, I guess, when you get to some of the Rockies that we were in, old burn country, right, where the aspen sucklings have grown up like crazy. I mean, it can get kind of thick and that kind of stuff, but
Right. Yeah.
not the same as what I see in some of the videos I watch out there on the Oregon coast. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So so do you have a full-time job other than being mom and Nature's Paint?
So I actually went to school for vascular ultrasound, but Nature's Paint has taken off, and the whole mom gig. I recently just went full-time Nature's Paint.
Did you? Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. And what does your husband do?
He is a mechanical engineer.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's got to be kind of fun. That took some schooling to get through, didn't it?
Yeah, he likes it. He designs a lot of processing equipment for plants that produce like French fries for McDonald's and that kind of thing.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. And he's quite an outdoorsman as well. So you guys make quite a pair out there in the woods, I take it. I mean,
I think so.
looking at all them deer you got behind you, you guys must be pretty good at hunting for the most part.
These are all mine.
Oh, those are just yours.
Just mine.
So we're in your office, I take it.
We are in my office.
Gotcha. Well, that's excellent. You got some nice mounts, that's for sure.
Well, thank you.
So you also are a part of a few things. We can see you got your Girls with Guns clothing shirt on, Mossy Oak, Hips Archery Targets, and then Elevation Fitness Athlete, right?
Yep. And Wilderness Athlete.
Cool. The Girls with Guns, where did you get your involvement in that? How did that come about?
It was just kind of one of those things. It was after Nature's Paint had kind of started, and we were reaching out to other companies to kind of get our foot in the door and things like that. And I just happened to come across Jen and Arissa, and one thing led to another, and here we are.
There you go. Well, they have some good stuff. I like it because it's actually girls' clothing, right? I mean, or women's clothing. I mean, it fits you guys well. It looks good, represents a women's idea, and I think it's pretty cool stuff. And it seems like it's doing pretty good. I've seen it slowly more and more here in the last year. That's for sure. Yeah,
no, they're doing really good, and like you said, it fits the women's body type. I grew up, I'm 30, so when I first started hunting, I wore my dad's hand-me-downs, boy clothes, so you're going over that deadfall, like you said, and I'm, pulling my pants up and, just trying to maneuver. And, it's really nice to actually have a woman's clothing where, that's one less thing that you have to worry about when you're hunting.
Right. Now, they don't offer a full camouflage line. So being that you are with Mossy Oak, what women's camo do you wear?
I wear Girls with Guns. They have a full-on Mossy Oak line.
Oh, I was on the website and I saw a few jackets, but I didn't see the rest. I didn't see a whole gig on there, so my apologies.
They've got pants, base layers, shirts, sweatshirts, coats. Yeah, they've got the full line.
Wow, excellent. That's good to know. It's good to know. I totally didn't look far enough into the website to see it. I thought I did, but... So I looked up Elevation Fitness a little bit, and I found stuff in Colorado. Now, am I looking at the wrong thing? Is this?
So Elevation Fitness Training, it's a company ran by Steven and Courtney. They're actually they're here in Oregon, but more towards the coast.
Okay.
Here, but yeah, they have a really awesome program where they're both personal trainers. And they tailor workouts to you, what you have, what you don't have. Do you work out at home? Do you go to a gym? And then they also incorporate like shooting your bow and getting in shape for archery season. And, when you're super busy, like I am, mom, business, owner and everything, it's nice to kind of lump those things together where you can practice and get in shape at the same time.
All at the same time. Yeah. So it's a web-based situation then. So do you go and sign up to their situation and then like they custom make it for you and then every day they send you a workout, or do they send you blocks of weeks worth or something?
Yeah, it's usually a month's worth of workouts. You can do it all. They have an app that they customize it to, and so they go into their program. They program it all to you, put your things on. You can get right on your phone, and this is what workout you're doing today. You can communicate with them through the app, but they're really good about keeping you on track and that accountability. It's not like you sign up, here's your month's worth of workouts. I'll talk to you in 4 weeks. It's not like that.
Right.
I've lost 10 inches, 8 pounds, 5 more pound draw weight on my bow. I mean,
how long you been doing that? The elevation fitness workouts?
Let's see what I started, I think about 3 months.
There you go. Oh, you've done good in 3 months. That's excellent.
Yeah.
So has that inspired you to maybe take on the Train to Hunt event in Oregon?
I don't know if I'm there yet. It would be fun, but I don't know if I have the time to really dedicate and train and stuff for it this year. Courtney actually won the whole thing 2 years ago.
Courtney did?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, was she there? Was she at Nationals this year?
I don't know. She had one of her clients got second there. I don't know. I know she was at the Oregon one, but I don't know if she made it to the Nationals one in Colorado or not.
So the young lady out of, was it Florida or Texas that took second in the Women's Open? I can't remember. I'd have to look at it again. I don't recall, but yeah, it definitely takes some time and dedication. You really gotta push at it to make a go of it. Although you can always still show up at Train to Hunt and go have a good time and see, just kind of, work on your personal situation, see where you're at. Right.
True. I'm competitive though, so I don't know if I could do that. I think when I go into something like that, like I want to go knowing that I'm there to compete, but yeah, you're totally right. You could totally go there and give it your best.
Yeah, I mean it's designed for all levels, right? In a sense, but I'm the same as you. Actually, tomorrow morning I get to start getting back in the gym. I took all of archery season off, which is, I was talking to a couple of friends the other day that I don't lift during archery season. I don't even shoot my bow during archery season. I shoot every day leading up to it, and then I might shoot half a dozen times in 6 weeks. Just right before a hunt, just throw a 30 or 40 yard arrow and just see if I'm didn't smack my bow against something and knock it off. But otherwise, I don't shoot a lot, and I think next year I got to change that some because I don't think it's a good idea. Because I can tell you, I'm already weaker in my hold, and it doesn't take long. It takes forever to get there, doesn't it? But it don't take long to lose it.
Right.
So I can understand why you wouldn't want to, take all that time and all that energy to put towards Train to Hunt when you have some passions that are probably a lot stronger for you in your life. Getting women more organized into the outdoor world, into hunting, things like that seem to be something that you take a lot of pride in. I mean, tell us about some of the organizations that you're involved in and what they mean to you, for yourself personally, and what they mean for you to be able to share and help other people grow.
Yeah. So I'm an NRA rifle instructor as well as a hunter's ed instructor, and I do a lot of work with the Northwest Ladies Hunting Camp. We have 2 camps every year, one here in Oregon, Central Oregon, about an hour from me, and then we did our first one in Utah last year, about, I think it's like 30 miles outside of Salt Lake City. And, so we put on these camps where, women can come from any skill level. Maybe they're more advanced and they're just trying to hone in on skills, because you can always learn something. I mean, I still always learn something from other women. Or you can be a total beginner where maybe they don't have the support at home, you know, and they're wanting to get into the outdoors and, you know, learn where their food comes from and harvest their own food maybe. And, you know, I really love, you know, to be in that spot where, you know, I can help other women, and, you know, they don't necessarily, you know, have to feel shy or put back, because, you know, we're just there to help them.
Right. Well, what do you, for women that want to get more involved in their local organizations or create things like you know, this Northwest Ladies Hunting Camp, what would you tell them as far as where they need to start? It always seems like there's people, they have good ideas, they have, you know, they have the desires, and whatnot, but they just don't know where to start.
Like if they want to actually put on an event like this, or if they're just wanting to like come to an event.
Well, I'd like to create it, you know.
Yeah. You know, you just reach out. I mean, that's pretty much what I did. I started researching, you know, events around, and, you know, reaching out to peers in the outdoor industry. And that's how I kind of came about with the Northwest Ladies Hunting Camp. And this will be my 3rd year there, you know, teaching. And then, you know, if you can get into organizations like that and kind of learn how they put them together and run them and things like that, then it makes it a lot easier to go off on your own.
Right.
You know, I mean,
so just getting involved in some of your local or state stuff, and
Yep.
just be an integral part of that.
Right.
Definitely build and show you the foundations you need to move forward in something that you might have as your own idea.
Right. Yep.
Gotcha. Now, you're also on the Oregon Outdoor Council.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that seems like, if you're an executive board member and event chair, I mean, that's got a lot of meeting time, a lot of organization, a lot of involvement. That must take up a good amount of time, I would think.
I'm a very, very busy woman.
Yes, you are.
But it doesn't take up as much time as you would think. You know, there's kind of, you know, certain months, obviously, you know, leading up to the events and things like that are, you know, busier than others. But, you know, I mean, for me, conservation is huge. And, you know, being a hunter and avid outdoors woman, I need to make that time to volunteer and, you know, help in that way as well. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, and so, being they're the only 100% political advocacy organization that puts themselves in the model of the North American model, right, for wildlife conservation, that plays a huge role. What kind of numbers do you guys have within your organization, and how do you feel that those numbers in the organization, what kind of reach are they getting?
As far as like reaching out to others in the outdoors, or?
Well, it just within the conservation model, right? I mean, what do you got? What is your outdoor council doing? What's their numbers like? Let's talk about that first and foremost.
Right. So the Oregon Outdoor Council, you know, we're, like you said, we're 100% in the political market. We really are fighting here in Oregon to get hounds back to use for hunting, so that we can get our predator population, you know, kind of toned down. Here in Oregon, we've really seen an increase in the predator population, which is decreasing our big game herds, which in turn, you know, is decreasing what we can harvest and what we bring home, because there's just not, you know, there aren't those numbers. So that's one of our huge things. You know, there are smaller things that we work towards. Dominic, our president, he goes to the hearings and everything, and works a lot with the legislative there. So
That's good. What kind of numbers do you guys have in the organization? How many members?
Oh, geez. You know, I honestly don't even know off the top of my head how many numbers we have.
But do you know what does it cost to be a part of the organization? Do you guys have membership dues, yearly dues, things like that?
Yeah, it's just a $25 yearly due. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So that's more than doable if you're in Oregon, right? I mean, if you're an outdoorsman in Oregon, then you should find a way to put your $25 to be a part of the Oregon Outdoor Council, because it sounds to me like your guys' reach is doing what people need for that model of conservation, right? You guys are pushing for, things to go back the way they were, but you're being inventive as well to try to find new ways to help with wildlife conservation, and constantly trying to figure out how to work with legislation, how to work with these other organizations to unite to become one and be a stronger force, right?
Right. Yeah. We just want to be that voice for the, everyday outdoors woman, man, right. And just, fight for what we want.
So you believe in predator management, which is, it can be a touchy subject. Mm-hmm. But I think that most of us that believe in conservation and actually really honor the animals that we hunt and believe in that, we know that it's necessary. So what's one of your you mentioned the hounds deal, bringing hounds back in to help with predator management. Do you have any other ideas, from yourself, something that you believe in personally as well?
As far as like predator
predator management, yeah.
The hounds for me are a big deal because, that's going to allow us to hunt. I mean, you can hunt with calls and things like that, but it's just, it's not the same. It's not as effective as hunting with hounds. And so I believe, if we could bring those back and, if they want to have a quota or, whatnot, but, I really think that the hound aspect could really help us to control the predators more and, be able to manage our big game herds better.
I know here in Colorado, we're not allowed to use electronic calls. We can for coyotes, but we can't for bears. We can't for cats, that kind of thing. But I know that's something that we're trying to work on a little bit here is, in that. Now, are you guys allowed to use electronic and handheld?
For the coyotes and stuff, like you said, and we can't bait bears or anything like that either.
Yeah, no, we don't have any baiting either. Yeah, we really need to have a spring bear hunt here, that's for sure. And if it was baited, it'd be more successful. I think that if you did a baited bear season and you had X amount of tags, you could see the fulfillment rate of that in a more controllable sense. Because right now right now we got over the counter with caps on bears in the fall, and it seemed like it might be a good program, but really in the end, you can sell 500 tags, but unless the person actually does the survey for CPW to tell whether they did or didn't harvest, then out of that 500 tags, we really don't know how many were really taken. So, and the numbers for that in the archery side of 11%, if that. And so you can make it look all good, like you're giving tons of tags away, but realistically, the bottom line is that you're not doing the management really that's necessary when you're only getting 8 to 11% of those tags filled. I'd rather see 100 tags given out on a baited situation, knowing that you've got a 70 or 80% success rate.
Yeah, I agree. And here in Oregon, we actually have to report on all of our tags, so they do get those numbers.
So it's mandatory? Really? See, it's an optional thing here in Colorado, and I think it should be mandatory as well, because I really don't think that, we got, the problem is that it shouldn't have to be mandatory. It should just be something that you do.
Right.
Right. I mean, it's just the right thing. But that doesn't mean that people are always going to do that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. I mean, most people, if they really understand the model of conservation and whatnot, then you know that you should, what's the best way to put it? That, you should be honored that you have the opportunity to report it.
Right. Exactly.
Because that's what's gonna manage the wildlife. That's what's going to give us the right number of tags next year or in the next 5-year block or whatever. But if you don't give them the information back to work with, you can sit here around the campfire and bitch at them that there's not enough elk anymore. There's not enough this, there's not enough that. But really, if you don't do your part,
then you're not helping the cause.
Then you're not helping.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Saying some people that don't do that, I'm just like, why did you not call? I mean, I even got friends. I'm like, why did you not do the survey?
Yeah. They've actually made it really easy here in Oregon where you can just log right into our ODFNW website and into your hunter information, and there's a couple clicks and you're done.
Yeah, and I think that, so I got a question for you here in a second, but it is mandatory to report all of your bear in Colorado. So within 3 days, you have to go to CPW, take the bear down, that kind of thing. But I was more referencing just your general tags of elk and deer and that kind of thing. That's not a mandatory process. Gotcha. But I got a question. I think they Matt just sent me a question to ask you, but I think that
Mr. Muley Matt.
Yeah, Muley Matt is piping in. He's blowing my phone up and sending me stuff. But I think that maybe I'm going to ask you this question, but I think that they might both have one to do with the other. So I was going to bring up something about Extreme Huntress. Okay. But let me tell you his question. He said, please ask Sereena what her most pivotal outdoor experience has been and what has left the biggest impression on her.
Oh, jeez.
So in some of the research I've done on you, I think it goes, my guess would be the Axis doe hunt. But maybe you have something different to share with us.
Yeah. So specifically with Extreme Huntress, is that what he's wanting?
No. I think his question was in general, but I think that my research tells me it might have something to do with that.
Yeah. As hunters, we strive to have, the most ethical hunt that we can. We don't want to wound things. We don't want to, have those bad experiences, such as the Axis doe hunt. That was a tough hunt for me. During the Extreme Huntress competition, the Axis doe was actually my last management. Actually, the last animal of the actual contest. I got it Friday night, and we left early Saturday. Right. And so to be in that situation where, you saw the episode, I fessed up. I made a terrible shot. Less than ideal, less than perfect. And
you're not a perfect hunter. You're not a perfect hunter.
I'm not. I wish I was. I wish I was that perfect hunter, but no.
Yeah.
And to be in that situation where, like I said, I made the terrible shot. We had to. We found her. She was, wounded, but then to have to, finish her off, and I don't believe they showed it, but. So the Axis deer, they breed like rabbits, for what I'm told.
Right.
So when I was gutting her, she was actually pregnant, which is like another stab to the chest, which I don't believe they showed that on that episode. But just to have all of those events and from making a less than ideal shot to gutting, and she had this baby that probably could have been born any day. It's hard, and I showed a lot of emotion
right.
During the episode, but I feel like that it was needed, because yes, I'm a hunter and I harvest animals to feed my family and to have organic meat and, conservation and everything. But at the same time, I still have a heart. I still care and things.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you not being a perfect hunter, but I do appreciate you being an honest one. And I appreciate you being, a real hunter, right? I mean, we can watch shows and we can see lots of different things that don't carry the reality of the emotion and wildlife's brutality, right? I mean,
right.
Nature is not perfect either, and it can be hard. Hunting is not for everybody, but for those who do and who are real and honest and do their best and practice their craft and do everything they can within their power to do to make the most ethical kill and take care of the wilderness while they're there. Those people are important to America and to the conservation model. So is that the most pivotal moment for you? Are those one and the same, or is Matt's question, do you have a different answer for Matt?
No, I'd say they're one and the same. That was I had never had an experience like that as a hunter,
right.
Before that point, and to just be, to be in that situation, I would say, I kind of felt blessed that it was, on video, on show, so that, I can go back and I can, remember that, that hunt and how I felt and everything.
So what's your favorite animal to hunt?
Oh, that is such an easy question.
Is it?
Question. Yes. Elk. Hands down, elk. Mm-hmm.
Why?
Elk. It's just, it's something. So I archery hunt elk. I've rifle hunted elk before too, but archery hunting elk is definitely, there's such a rush, when you get out there early in the morning and they're bugling and you get them in. I shot an elk at 10 yards last year. So to have them just, be up close and personal with such an amazing animal it's a rush.
Yep. Dallas Clark, one of my first podcasts, he made a comment that if a bugling elk doesn't set your soul on fire, then you probably shouldn't be out there.
Oh, I agree. 100% agree. Yes.
I mean, it is something when they're so close to you that you can see their eyes moving, you can see them breathe, you can see steam coming out of their nose. You can, you can.
You're giving me chills right now.
It's awesome, isn't it? It's just, it's the coolest thing to have that intimacy. And that was one cool thing for me elk hunting this year is I had some good intimate moments. I didn't get to kill anything, but I still had some amazing hunts throughout the month, and I learned a lot, and that was a good place to be for me. That's for sure. Now, with that being said, that elk is your favorite thing to hunt. What's your favorite wild game to eat? Is it the same answer?
Oh yeah.
Is it?
No. Yeah.
So I asked this kid not that long ago what his favorite thing to hunt was dove, and he said it was dove. And then I said, well, what's your favorite thing to cook? And there was this moment of silence, and he was like, seriously? Dove. So I felt kind of dumb asking the question, but I've had people answer differently. Some people say what they love to hunt isn't always their favorite wild game to make. Do you have a special way of making elk in your household? Do you have a killer recipe?
We just grill it on the trigger.
Yeah.
mean, yeah. There's no, it's not like goose where you have to like cover up the gamey taste or anything. I mean,
Right.
elk is perfect, little seasoning, and it's good.
Just the way it is. Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. So what's you've grown up being an outdoorsman. You know this is a way of life for you, is a part of who you are. It's what you want to do. So where's your favorite place to be out in the wilderness?
Oh, just anywhere out in the middle of nowhere, just out there being one with the animals and away from people. Yeah, I mean, you stick me out in the middle of nowhere anywhere and I'll be 100% happy.
Right. So you don't have a favorite spot? You have that one place out in the wilderness that is Sereena's place?
I would probably say, yeah, I do actually. There's we go back home to where my parents live, and we go up in the wilderness there and hunt. And there's this one spot where I actually killed my biggest mule deer. My husband has killed his biggest archery elk. My dad's killed an elk there, and it's just, you go to that spot and, all the memories come back, and it's
right.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me. I hadn't even
So what does it look like there? What does it look like?
It's your typical wilderness. We have the tall lodge pole, lots of blowdown. When you're in there in the morning, it's nice, crisp, cool. There's usually elk tracks everywhere. Rubs.
So is it a bench? Are you looking out across some canyons or some chutes, or are you what's,
It's, for me, it feels like it's the top of the world because, we're up there 8,000 feet in elevation. When you can peek out through the trees, you can see the valley floors below. It's a pretty awesome spot.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So with all that you're doing for the outdoors woman and children and things, and the organizations that you're involved in, what else do you do, putting your feet to your faith, so to speak, in the wilderness? When you're out in the wilderness, what do you do to give back to what's given to you so much?
When I'm out in the wilderness, I just, if I harvest an animal, I give thanks. I thank the good Lord above me that, I was able to harvest an animal to feed my family, and just try to enjoy, especially with, the events of Las Vegas and things like that, just to enjoy, what we have on this earth and what we can be thankful for. And, yeah.
That's good. So, for me, simple things, I like to tread lightly. I like to pick up trash when I'm coming out. I do the same thing. I just, try to give back to the wilderness in ways that it can't protect itself.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing when you go out hunting and all the trash you pick up.
Yeah. It's almost like I need another 1,000, cube lid to bring everybody else's crap out.
Exactly. I always always have an extra, gallon Ziploc or whatever, because I know, like you said, you're going to be picking up somebody else's trash.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fact. So what you kind of touched on a little bit with your explanation of what you do to give back to the wilderness, but what does the wilderness mean to you? What does it mean when you think of this, this expansive place and the beauty and the rawness of nature and different things? What does it mean to you? What does it do for you?
It cleanses my soul. you can have a bad day, here in town and take me out to the wilderness, and it's just like, all of your worries and troubles and everything, they just go away. And, it's an awesome feeling.
It is, huh?
Yeah.
Wilderness is a cool place. So our podcast is Wilderness Attitude. So that's cool. So it gives you it cleanses your attitude is what I'm hearing from you. Right. And so, and does it do anything else for your attitude, coming back out of the wilderness or going into the wilderness or, different things like that?
Yeah. Like I said, it refreshes me. And so then when I come out of the wilderness, I'm a better person for lack of better, terminology.
That's good. I think we all are. I think that's a universal response that most everybody who goes into the wilderness spends some time out there. It doesn't matter if it's 10 minutes or it's 10 days. You definitely come back a more humbled, more refreshed, and just just a better person, like you say.
Yeah,
I think so too. So what's in the future for you right now? I mean, you just went full time Nature's Paint.
Uh-huh.
What are you doing? What are you gonna do?
Let's see, we've got trade show seasons coming up. Obviously, I've got some hunts, on the books for the rest of the year.
Tell us more about those. What else you got going? Be specific.
I leave in a week and a half to go to Northern California, like I'd mentioned earlier. We do our annual blacktail hunt, my husband and I, rifle hunting. So we've got that. I'm pretty excited for that hunt. And then pretty much from there up until the spring, we do a lot of predator hunting and waterfowl.
There you go. See, I'm not much of a waterfowl guy at all. I got some friends that are big into it, but I don't know. It's a whole nother expansive universe and expensive one on top of it. So yes. I don't know if that's not in the cards for me anytime soon. But so with the trade shows coming up, is Nature's Paint doing anything different than what they've got right now? Are they going to do? You guys got any new creative things coming down the pike or anything?
So, like as far as what trade shows we're going to, or just any? We just launched a new formula. Okay,
there you go.
So, we have that. We're going to be at ATA this year as well as the Hunt Expo again in Salt Lake. Okay. I'm also going to hit one of the ISCs on my way back from ATA in Denver. Cool. I'll be there with Jackie from Bow Crazy.
All right, right on.
Yeah, so I'll be there on Sunday, and yeah, I mean we've got a busy schedule, but I'm excited about it.
So when you're away on trade shows, how does the hubby turn into Mr. Mom?
You know how they always there's that saying that it says that it takes a village to raise your kids. That can't be any truer when you own your own business. From Nate, turning into Mr. Mom, but he's actually going to be going to a couple of the trade shows with me this year, to my parents, his parents. We're very blessed with people who want to watch our kids.
Good. Well, I know very well how it takes a village to raise a family. Me and my wife have 9 children, and we own our own company, and even getting away for 3 days to come up here with mm-hmm. her for our anniversary. I don't know. I think I can count five probably people that had to jump in, and make a go of it. Uh-huh. Our own older kids helped out, and then grandma helped out, and mm-hmm. And then even a friend is picking up another one from school today, and it's just last night at 11 o'clock, we found out one piece of the puzzle had to leave. And so then we're doing the phone call, texting juggle last night to try to figure out who's going to cover what. But, I think where there's a will, there's a way. And I think that, you've got a great gig going with what you're doing, and the product is fantastic. And, people can see that, I'm sure, within your family. And and around you, that you got that you made a go of something. And it's always fun when you can support someone who's trying to live the American dream, right?
Right.
I think it's really fun. So how can people contact you and get a hold of Nature's Paint, and also, where can they go to follow you to keep up with all your antics and all your business moves?
Yeah, so personally, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. It's just Sereena R. Thompson. My name, pretty, generic, right?
All good.
And then,
Simple,
Nature's the same thing, simple, at Nature's Paint. Our website, you can contact us through there. If you want to contact me personally through social media, probably works the best. I, go through my messages, try to on a daily basis, not always the case, but at least every other day for sure.
There you go.
And I love, talking to people and, just connecting with anybody in the outdoors.
So a question I should have asked earlier is, how did you come up with the name Nature's Paint?
It was one of those things. My business partner and I, we had this long list of names, and Nature's Paint was not one of them.
Wow. And
so we're going off of this list, and her significant other just kind of, it was off the cuff on this, what about Nature's Paint? And we're kind of like, yeah, we kind of like it. So,
right.
It fits into our, all natural, organic creation of Nature's Paint, but then also, kind of has that nature aspect of it. So, yeah. Exactly.
Well, I sure do appreciate your time. Thanks so much for letting us dive a little bit into your life and getting to know you a little bit more. One of the co-founders behind Nature's Paint. It's always cool to get a good perspective from someone who's not only a hunter and a conservationist, but also someone who's working on providing something for the general public to help them with that. And so I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy morning today to sit down with us here at Wilderness Attitude and share some time. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You got any shout outs for anybody?
I have had a lot of help along the way from lots of, companies, people. Like you said, Matt he was amazing at the Hunt Expo, as far as introducing us to people. Jen and Narissa from Girls with Guns, they've been, super, super helpful. I can go to them with any kind of questions. I know there's people I'm missing because there are so many people out there. Julie McQueen, she's been amazing. Jana Waller. They're all awesome, down to earth people. And, it's really nice in the world today to be able to connect with people like that.
Genuine people are hard to find, but they definitely, they seem a little easier to find within this industry. Right? Mm-hmm. Especially within, the hunting world, that's for sure. Or even the outdoors world, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a hunting world, but people that can respect something much bigger than themselves tend to have a little bit more genuine, real attitude, don't they?
Right.
Well, that's one of those people is you. So we thank you for what you're doing. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Have yourself a great day, and we'll see you soon.
You too.
Right on. Take it easy. Bye-bye.
What a great show. Appreciate you guys tuning in and listening. If you guys got any questions, comments, concerns, good, bad, or ugly, please go to wildernessattitude.com and drop me a message there. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you later.